What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining us. We have a special episode today, a joint episode by us at Inquire and Rachel at College for the Culture. We're actually going to be talking about our top 3 things that we think that you should do to help you prepare for your senior year of college. There's a lot of things going on. You want to make sure that you end off the year well, but you've got all of these things that you're preparing for college. So we're going to go through our top reasons. But before that, we're going to give ourselves a little bit of an intro. So my name is Selvin. I am part of Inquire. We do a lot of holistic help for Black students and professionals. So we have a lot of resources, including our podcast, which is called the Black Student Success Podcast. And then Rachel, I'm going to give you the floor, and then you can let everybody know who you are and you know what your podcast is.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Rachel. I am a senior at college at Sophie Davis at CCNY. I have my own podcast and platform, College for the Culture, which is all about sharing resources with students of color about the college process and the college experience. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, definitely excited to go through these things and share from our perspectives, especially with you being in college in the thicket of it right now. Me, it's been some time, but still have some experience from that. So let's actually start with you. What is your number 3 thing that you would want students to do as they're preparing in their senior year of college or high school?
I would say it's really important to do your research. I think some people kind of approach college and like, okay, what are the first 5-10 schools that I know at the top of my head? I know what Harvard is, I know what Yale is, and I know my state school is, and that's kind of it. But I think it's really important to know, okay, what do I want? Like, do you want to be close to your parents? Do you want to be far away? What programs do you want in there? What type of people do you want in there? And really doing thorough research. And I'm not saying just looking at their college website, okay, I see it looks pretty, and then moving on. Actually have a criteria for yourself. Okay, I want to look for if they have the majors I want. I want to look for if they have the career advising I want. I want to look for how their campus life is like. Do they have school spirit, or is it a little bit lacking? I want to look for different activities. Like, I like to swim, I like to dance, I like to do this, and I want to make sure they have those things. And really the website is a great starting point, but I don't think that's it. I think once you've really looked through that website, for me, I'm pretty visual. So I like looking at YouTube videos of students, particularly ones that are look a little similar to me, because the person of color experience is a lot more different than the white experience. So I would say looking for different videos or blogs of people sharing their own experiences. Also, I think another resource that could help you really understand. And those people are not sponsored by the school. They're not paid from the school to say anything they're supposed to say. They're really just saying genuinely how they feel. So I think when doing your research, other than looking at their website, find some YouTube videos, find some blogs or confidential pages that may help you understand what a school's all about. And also reach out to people through social media. There's so many different almost everyone in college is on social media. I'm on social media. So if you really like a school a lot and really want to know a perspective, maybe shoot someone a DM who should want a message like, hey, I've noticed you're a student at this school. I'd love to hear your experience and what that's all about. Or even a recent alumni too, who's been through everything. You could also reach out to them. And if you have a family member or a friend that is in a college that you're kind of interested in, reach out. Don't be shy. Reach out. Be like, hey, how was it like at your school? Tell me all about it. Did you feel comfortable? What did you like, did not like? And I feel like doing all those different things will really help you understand, okay, is this school worth it to apply to, or should I just put it aside and look for something else? So I would say doing thorough research will be really helpful.
There you go. Yeah, the people thing is a big one for that. If you can get somebody, with all the access that you have to people through social media, if you can get somebody and just have a quick call, FaceTime, one-on-one conversation, you can get an honest opinion. I think that's also valuable too, because you look at the website, you talk to somebody who works at the school, they're going to give you all the good stuff about it, but you want to have the full opinion on what is it like to be a student there? So if you can get a student who's already there, they can give you the rundown. So that's definitely a good point. Let's see. So mine is, or my number three is, gather your accomplishments. If you could answer the question, if I were to create a highlight reel of everything that I did in high school, what would I put in it? And you're gonna get all this information together for all those applications that you're going to start completing, not only for college, but also for scholarships as well, because you want to put yourself in the best light. So, it could be stuff like academic wise, I made the honor roll this many times, I got, a 4 in this AP score, or it could be something, like sports or something extracurricular, like, placed second in state, or first in the debate competition. Put all these things together, and even the things that are more personal, if you're willing to share that, in terms of personal growth, because that'll give those schools a really good idea of what type of person you are, and how that that is affecting the choice of school that you want and why you want to get into it. So I would say gather all of those things together. You can flex a little bit. It's okay. Even if you're, more on the modest side, get all those things together, and then, lay them out so that it's nice and organized when you are putting those applications together.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, especially because the common application, they have an activity section, and it's not just about putting random stuff you did, like a club or something. You kind of have to go in a little bit detail and explain how that activity has shaped who you are as a person. And I think that also helps when writing your personal essay or the college essay, the 650-word one that everybody takes 5 months to write, but it's like a huge thing. It's important to really understand and remember all the activities you did and kind of organize them in what's important to you, because it helps you in finding something to write about. So yeah, definitely don't be afraid to boast either. Like, these are for you. This is not about like the school. I kind of really want to hone in the point that they care about your perspective. It's not about them. So don't be shy and listing like, yeah, I was the president of this and I helped this nonprofit or whatever, because that is going to really help the school understand who you are as a person. And that's what's most important here, like throughout this whole process.
Yeah. No matter how big or small, just make sure you list it and then show the impact that you had. So great point there. Now, what's your number 2, Rachel?
My number 2, I will say, is really important to kind of plan ahead. And what I mean by that is not just like, okay, I plan to have a GPA, but if you're somebody that you need to apply to different scholarships to pay for school, if you're somebody that needs to see a school to believe it, and you want to like do some tours and stuff, it's really important to have a plan for yourself. Don't just kind of walk into this and just, okay, I'm just going to hope for the best. If you really want to like have something, it's really important to set a few plans for yourself. And especially in terms of affording, I'll kind of shift what I'm saying in a little bit. I'm going to make it more towards affording financing college. It's really important to have everything together and have a certain plan of how you're going to approach it, because the FAFSA, the CSS profile, those are all things that no one really does in their free time. And so it could be really confusing walking into it, but it's really important to have a set plan on how to approach it. Like when October 1st comes, which is when the FAFSA is open, kind of look at that and be like, okay, have a conversation with your parents and be like, okay, how should we approach this? What should we include? What does this school need from me? What does this school need from me? And if you need scholarships, don't just at the last minute, it's July, you're about to enter college. Okay, look for something. Try to have like a little bit of a plan, like, okay, maybe once a month, like every month I'll try to apply to like 5 or 10 and see how it goes. Have like an essay set aside that you could just copy paste in like different schools and stuff. So in terms of, I'm making it in a finance type of thing, it's important that you really try to organize and plan that, and not just kind of walk into it and hope that money will just come to you. You have to kind of be proactive and plan how you can chase that money for yourself.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of stuff that's thrown out at you, and you gotta figure out a way to kind of spread that work around. So if you're planning ahead by doing so, then you're gonna be able to achieve all that. And it kind of goes into actually what my point is. So my number two is actually to list out all of your deadlines. So yeah, so that can be in light of those different scholarships, because they will be available all year round. Yeah, like you said, don't wait until July, just before you start that college year to start looking for them, because they would probably have all passed at that point.
Yeah.
But list all of those different deadlines that you have with your college applications and your scholarship applications. So that gives you an opportunity to, like you said, plan ahead with, okay, if I know I have this number in due in September, this in October, you can kind of get that arranged, especially around whatever your school schedule is like. And the good thing is there's a number of ways that you can do that. You can do something simple as Word and just listing all those things in a word processing program. You could do a spreadsheet if that works out for you. Kind of create some graphs if you really want to take it that far. Yeah. There's a bunch of note taking apps. There's Notes on Apple. There's Evernote. There's OneNote from Microsoft. There's just a lot of things that you can do just from your phone, especially that can be really convenient if you're not near a computer. Something pops in your head, you can just write it down, or you can just simply have a notepad in front of you, or if you want to go about that way, if that helps you with your remembering things, just physically write it down. So there's a number of ways that you can do that, but kind of connected to your point, staying ahead or planning ahead by listing all of those different deadlines out.
Yeah, I definitely agree, especially the spreadsheet point. That's something I did my senior year. I saw some random girl in my class have an Excel sheet. She had like her colleges, when are due dates going to happen, what is the type of schools that are reach, is it a safety, is it like a target, okay, any scholarships they have. And I was like, send me a copy of that spreadsheet right now, girl. And then it helped me stay organized, because I applied to like 25 something schools. I applied to a lot because I was pretty indecisive. So it was really helpful for me to have a color-coded spreadsheet that listed out everything I needed to know, so that I'm not like forgetting a certain document, or I'm not forgetting, I don't miss a deadline by accident. So yeah, definitely staying organized, especially while you're balancing a good GPA while also applying to colleges, is super, super important, because you don't want everything to just explode in your face and you're playing catch up.
Absolutely. Thanks for adding on to that. Now, what's your number one point that you think all students should really go through when preparing for senior year?
My number one point, this is more kind of broad, but I would say to prioritize yourself. I think with applying to colleges, you kind of sometimes will get wrapped up in other people's opinions about maybe prestige at a certain school, or maybe you're like in the halls and you're hearing someone like, did you hear they got accepted here? Did you hear they got rejected here? And like, you kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit, because you want to make your parents proud. You want to, appear like you're doing well in front of your own peers. And sometimes that means you're like grabbing their opinions instead of thinking about what you want and what helps you. And I know this is people think of a lot of deep stuff, not just about the college themselves, but about like their career and what they want to do moving forward. And it's okay if you don't have it figured out. You're literally 17, 18 years old, but you have to make sure you put your desires and your passions in the forefront. That's what these schools care about. They want to know your passions. They want to know your desires. They don't want to just somebody that has an A and okay, they have an A+ everywhere and they're like captain of like the M Model UN team or something like that. No, like anybody could do those things. You really need to put what you want first and put your passions and desires out there, if that makes sense. Like, I know, especially because I'm a child of an immigrant. My parents are from Nigeria, and their top things is like, you got to do well in school. Anything that's less than an A, I don't want to hear it. You got to make sure you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant. If you're Nigerian, like those are the things, careers that you need. Anything else, you don't care. But like, you're the one that's going to be entering college for the next 2 years, not your parents, not your friends, not your relatives. They're not going with you. It's you. You're the one that's going to be doing that career. And if you're going to choose something that pleases everyone but not yourself, you're going to be the one left unhappy, and it's really important to savor as much joy and happiness as possible, because there's so much like crazy stuff going on in this world. So I would say prioritize yourself. If you know that you want to study fashion, you want to study music, you want to study law, you want to study news broadcasting, then chase that. Find something that will like meet those needs. If you know that you really want to start your own business and maybe other people are kind of like, I don't know, businesses are kind of risky right now. Do you see this economy? No, you make a plan and you do that. If you want to sell hair, if you want to do makeup, if you want to do whatever, put yourself first. And it helps a lot with the application too, when you really share what you're passionate about, not stuff that people want to hear, not some like random story about, yeah, I struggled with this exam, but I made it through. No, they don't want to hear that. Or like, you don't even have to share too much trauma. I feel like, especially if you're a student of color, you feel like you have to be super traumatic. Like, yeah, the police did that and that. If you don't have to share, you don't have to share that if you don't want to. Share what you feel shows who you are. And if that is, okay, I like having dinners with my family every Sunday, and this is what we talk about, and this is the traditions we have. Maybe to other people that's boring, but I swear to you, there's going to be an admissions person out there that's going to find that very valuable and will make you understand who you are. So it's really all about you. It's not about what these admissions people want. It's not about what your parents want. It's not about what your friends want or your peers want. It's about what you want. And I know that it could be a tricky conversation to have because you just want to make sure you're doing the right thing. But I'm telling you, the right thing is doing what you feel works for you, doing what makes you like lights that fire in you, makes you feel joy, makes you want to wake up in the morning. Doing those things is the right thing to do. So yeah, just prioritize yourself throughout all of this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really creating that space where you don't feel like you have to compromise your authentic self, and you can kind of move forward in any move and knowing that you're doing the best thing for you because you know you best. And I think it's good to balance out, some of the advice that you do get from your friends, your parents, and other people. Definitely find a good balance from that. But don't lean too heavily on that, to the point where you're now losing pieces of yourself. So that's definitely a great point. Now, my last thing is really thinking about the value. So, still kind of vague like yours, but to kind of break that down, one is in terms of money. And now, in terms like you can think about financial aid, for example. One thing that you can just kind of keep in mind is, seeing which schools are gonna, basically give you the most money or leave you with the least amount to pay when you get out if you have to borrow anything. So you're thinking about the value of the education from that standpoint. Also, when it comes to selecting your major, if you want to be a social worker, what's maybe the cheapest way to go about that? Knowing that the social workers definitely do great work in their communities, and they're paid modestly. So you want to have that thing in mind, and not just a joy. You want to make sure you have the joy as well as can I have can I live the way that I want to live while pursuing this career? So keeping those things in mind. But also from an experience standpoint, those invaluable things, that you're going to get when you go to school that you won't be able to get anywhere else. The people that you're going to meet, the traditions that school has. I remember from actually one of your episodes where you're talking about HBCUs, and one of the guests was actually talking about the experience of homecoming. And when you think homecoming, you think HBCUs, and there's a very unique experience that you're not going to get anywhere else. So that's something that has a lot of value that you can't put a price on. There's a lot of personal growth that you're going to do once you get into school. And maybe it takes, sending you across the country and then you having to figure out, how you're going to, spread out all of your meal plans throughout the semester, like something like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of growth that comes from that, again, that you're not going to get anywhere else. So you can't put a price on. And as well as getting involved, there's a lot of different organizations, a lot of resources that are available to you just for the simple fact that you're a college student. So take advantage of that. You're paying that tuition to get that experience. So you want to, soak in as much of those things that are made available to you as possible. So so thinking about the value, that's going to be our number one thing on our side.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. It's like, it doesn't just apply to just like academics, but like how can you make that college your second home? How can you make that a worthwhile experience? How could you use up every tuition dollar that you spend? Or if you get a full ride scholarship, don't spend. How do you make up any second, any minute worthwhile? It's like thinking about what school makes it valuable for you. It's really important to understand those things. And it applies to many different areas. And it does require a lot of thinking. I think it's okay if you're like a little bit confused at first. I think because we live in a world where you just have to have everything figured out before you even started doing anything. And it's understandable if you walked into college and you're undecided, or if you're like, change your mind about a bunch of things. But I feel like in order to understand, I guess following up what you're saying, in order to understand the value, it's important to ask around. Don't just kind of sit with yourself and just be like, I'll just figure it out. No, like, ask different types of people, ask people who've already had certain experiences, what it's like. Ask someone who's had a gap year, how it's like, if you're thinking about that. Ask somebody who transferred schools, what that was like, if you're thinking about maybe doing that at some point. Just, it's okay, I guess, to understand the value. It's okay if you're like unsure about things, but it's really important to just make sure you're proactive, and so that you're not undecided for a long period of time. Yeah. So that's kind of like a side beef from what you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can go in with an undecided plan. If you're thinking about 3 different majors, you can have a plan as far as how you want to attack that. That might affect the classes that you pick, that might satisfy all 3 of those programs and give you a little bit more time to kind of figure out, okay, which is the right one for me, talking to these different students and getting their experience from that, while you're still trying to figure that out. So it is okay to go in undecided. It's okay to finish up a program and then, realize that might not be something that you want to do, because there's a lot of things that you're picking up just from being in college for 4 or 5 years, whatever that looks like. That's going to be valuable in whatever you do figure out. So you can definitely take the pressure off of trying to have everything figured out, especially at 17, 18. A lot of us don't even do it. I didn't do that. So it's totally okay. It's totally fine. So those are our 3 things. And Rachel, is definitely dope to get your perspective. So thanks for doing this with us. Let's why don't you give the people, where they can find your podcast and how they can reach you.
Yeah, of course. You could find College for the Culture on most podcast streaming platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Podchaser, different things like that. And you could also find the social media College for the Culture on Instagram at College for the Culture. And if you want to talk to me personally, specific advice, you could reach out to us, email us at collegefortheculture@gmail.com. And I would love to chat with you. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks. And then you can find us, that's at Inquire Hire. That's, basically all social media platforms, or at least the major ones, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got our website, inquirehire.com. If you want to email us, that's contact@inquirehire.com. And then if you want to see more from our podcast, where we not only talk to students, but also Black professionals about kind of their career paths and the different careers that they're getting into, that's the the Black Student Success Podcast. So that is also available on YouTube and then all of your major streaming services. So thanks again for listening. We hope that you got a lot of great information out of this from both of our perspectives. Definitely check out all of our content episodes. We'll have everything in the description, and reach out to us if you have any questions. So until next time, peace.
Bye.